Hello and happy Multichrome Monday. If this is your first time here, my name is Millie and I love any makeup, especially shiny, shifty, and sparkly eyeshadows. And Multichrome Monday is a series I do here on my channel where I feature different multichromes from all different kinds of brands. I do swatches, swatch comparisons, tutorials, and everything that has to do with multichromes. And today I'm actually going to be talking about some more drugstore multichromes. Last video I did was with the Physicians Formula Liquid Multichrome eyeshadows, if you want to check that one out. But today I'm going to be featuring the City Color Cosmetics Duochromes. So they call them duochromes, but it's pretty obvious that they're just like the black base kind of multichromes. I'm going to be comparing them to actual multichromes, but I do think it was good to call them duochromes because I think people use multichrome and duochrome a little bit interchangeably, and because this is a mainstream brand, they might not necessarily want to promise like a triochrome or multichrome, so I understand why they're calling them duochromes, which is probably better. However, they are pretty pricey. These are $14 each, which I feel like is kind of a lot for some loose pigments from the drugstore. City Color is available in Walmart as far as I know. I'm not sure about any other retailers. I did buy these online and I bought these in a bundle with their pigment activator. So it was like a whole bundle for $50. I found a 10% off coupon, so I knocked off $5 and then the shipping was free. So I paid all in all $45 for everything. So if you think about it, if you're buying multichromes from an indie brand, yes, it's gonna come out to be more, but those are pressed. You are getting more product in here, but those are like true multichromes, while these are just called duochromes. But we're gonna get into a lot more detail. Of course, I'm gonna do some swatch comparisons to indie multichromes, and I'm also going to be showing you some application demos and showing you how these look on the lids, as well as comparing this pigment activator to the Fernie Pixie Epoxy. If you've been on my channel, you know that this is my ride or die pigment type of primer. This is definitely best for finer pigments, so definitely something like this versus like actual glitter. This is different from a glitter glue like you find from NYX Cosmetics. So let's get right into some swatches, swatch comparisons, and the demos, and then as always, I will give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. So let's get right into it. First up for swatch comparisons is Mars Attack with the pigment activator. Below that is JD Glow Urgent, and below that is Sandblast from Clionadh Cosmetics. So I did layer Mars Attack on top of the pigment activator instead of mixing it in, which I think helped to not dull it down. At the top is Terra from City Color, layered over their pigment activator. Definitely layers better, like I said previously. Below that is JD Glow Seaweed, then Exosphere from Devinah Cosmetics, and Trefoil from Clionadh below that. But remember that these are dry swatches of pressed eyeshadows compared to having to use the pigment activator, which is just messier because you would have to try to layer it over it. But layering it on the lid doesn't quite work as well as when I'm swatching it and layering it. But these are very, very similar. Next up is Infinity from City Color, then Spire from Clionadh, and Magnetosphere from Devinah Cosmetics. Interstellar at the top over the pigment activator, JD Glow below that, then Crown Glass from Clionadh, Looking Glass from Terra. And on the very bottom is Oculus from Clionadh Cosmetics. Definitely some similarities here among all of these. Keeping in mind again that everything else is dry swatched except for the City Color. And the City Color shades just do not look like this on the lid, and you will see that in the demo portion. So while the City Color shade looks very shiny and beautiful, it doesn't quite translate like that onto the lids. And I'm going to be using the Dirty Martini palette from Glam. It's been a minute since I last used it. Going in with Garnish into my crease. It's going to be a pretty simple look. I just really want to test out this multichrome on the lid. And I'm going to take Green Olive right above that. Just stop slouching. Just blending the outer edges with that. And I'm going to take Extra Dirty on the outer corner. This palette does not go deep enough for my preference, so I'm probably going to go in and deepen it up with something else. Yeah, this is like not it. Okay, I'm going in with Lush from the Blend Bunny Surge palette. And we're just gonna layer this on out here. And then I'm just gonna blend out the edge of that. So next what I'm gonna do is I have this metal plate. I'm gonna put some of the loose pigment and try not to have the whole freaking thing come out. I love it just like came out in one piece. And then I'm gonna take their pigment activation liquid and I'm just gonna do one one little drop. And I'm just gonna mix it up on here. You can't really see anything. And just make sure that I have enough, and I can always just like add back in some pigment. You really need the tiniest amount of pigment, it seems like, to really get these to work. Maybe a little bit more. And I'm just taking that right across my lid. I'm just gonna go in with some pigment on top while it's still a little tacky. And that looks pretty nice. That looks pretty shiny. Definitely messy. I have quite a bit of fallout. But that's fine. I've had this foundation on all day anyway, but I feel like I'm not getting a black base when I do kind of merge this in, but do you see I have some fallout from that? So let's take a look at the duochrome. Priming on this side again with the Natasha Denona shadow primer. Going in with the Search palette from Blend Bunny. Taking Stay and popping that right into my crease. Again, we're just gonna do a simpler kind of look, just really putting that right in here. I'm gonna kind of tap it on. And then I'm taking Beckon, which is the lighter shade right above that shade in the palette, and just gonna feather out the edge. Then going in with Covet on the outer corner. I'm just gonna deepen that up. And blend it out. Cleaned off this brush and going back in with Beckon just out here to help blend that out further. Just really feather those edges. Put some Interstellar on my pan. And I actually use my brush to scoop it out, and I'm just gonna add the pigment activation again. Just one drop, it seems like is all you need. Wow, that looks a lot more green than purple. Should be interesting. At this angle, it looks purple. Go in this way. Okay, that's definitely, I think the shift is purple, and that's why I wanted to do that on the outer corner. Definitely think I need more pigment in here. It just feels like it's getting a little diluted. So I picked up some of the pigment and I'm just gonna press it on top. Yeah, this isn't really giving me like super metallic vibes whatsoever. I think that looks way more metallic in the viewfinder for me than in real life. Okay, I'm just going in with a little bit more. There you go, there I see it. Definitely think I need to try this with like my Fairney Pixie epoxy. I'm just gonna go in with the actual pigment again. I mean, it's okay. It looks way shinier in there than it really is. I'm not gonna put lashes on or anything. I just wanted to go in with the actual pigment on my finger and see what would happen if I rubbed it on. I mean, I don't know. Not much is happening. Again, it looks much shinier in the viewfinder than it really is in real life. The third and final look, I want to show you how the pigment looks different on their mixing medium versus the Fairney Pixie epoxy. And we're going to try that out. So I'm going to be doing the same look on both eyes for once. And gonna use the same pigment. I'm just gonna use the two different ways of applying them, and I'm sure the longevity is gonna be a lot better with the Fairney Pixie epoxy too, because this completely creased on me like super bad. So I'm gonna be going in with the Search palette. I'm going in with Juicy. I'm gonna be putting that right into my crease. It's gonna be a pretty simple look as always with these kinds of videos. Just putting on a little bit more. Really blowing it out, and then going in with Grunge on the outer corner. Oh no, I have some fallout. I'm gonna take it up in here a little bit. I'm gonna take Juicy and just blend it out with circular motions. Wipe it off this brush. I'm gonna go in with a cutout and just blend this out. I'm going in with Grunge under my lower lash line. Going in with a Fair Pixie epoxy on this eye. I do like to tap on it just to make sure there's not too much on here. Mars Attack, and I'm gonna kind of cover this area because I know I'm gonna get fallout. And I'm just gonna tap it on all over. Super messy. That's what that looks like. It's weird, it kind of looks lighter on the edges there. I don't know, I think there's something about the way that this pigment is. It's just super, super fine. It really reminds me of like a nail pigment. I put on the tiniest amount here, and I'm gonna put on a lot more of the pigment to see if I can kind of help maybe with the longevity of that. If maybe there's more of the binder kind of thing in there. All right, so I have it on my brush. Just gonna paint it on. It does make it less messy, but I just feel like it's, do you see like it's just completely dulling this down? I'm gonna go in with this again to prevent any fallout from falling in my face. And I'm just taking the pigment and I'm putting it on top. Honestly, this has been such a struggle overall. Like, I'm really not a fan. All right, so I think you can clearly see this side is so much better than this side. This side, you can actually see the pink, and this side just looks brown. So here's the Fair Pixie epoxy side. You can definitely see a shift. On this side, I can see that it's pinky. I can see it's like pinky toned straight on, then there's a bronze, like a gold green. And then this is the other side with their mixing medium. And it's just gonna be a matter of moments for this to start creasing. And you can kind of see some shifts, but not really as strong of a shift as the other side. So I think it's pretty obvious at this point my feelings on these. I do not think that these are worth it whatsoever for $14. That's quite a lot for what you're getting. I really feel like it's just not worth it. Yeah, you're getting a lot of product, but these are super messy. They're a bit finicky, and they do not work with the pigment activator that they have developed for these. It just dulls them out, and I feel like it's partially because this feels really oily actually, and I find that things that are oily like this do tend to do that to certain multichromes, and you could tell that the pigment just stuck down so much better on the Fair Pixie epoxy, which is why this one remains the ride or die, really a pigment type of primer. I think out of all the shades, Terraform was probably the nicest. So if, you know, you find this like 50% off and you haven't bought any multichromes, you don't have any multichromes, and you just want to try something out that's similar to it, then you could definitely go for it. I really feel like it'll be more worth it if you just bought like Seaweed from JD Glow, which is $16. You can find a 10% off coupon, which brings it down to under $15. So you're getting a pressed eyeshadow that is just this color and shinier and much easier to use for just a little bit more than this. And JD Glow is pretty good about stocking their multichromes. They also have a loose version of Seaweed, which I do believe is actually $15. So it's like $1 less than the pressed version. So if you wanted to stay within the pigment realm, then you could get the pigment versus the pressed. But pressed is just seriously like so much easier to use. These in theory would be easy to use if the if the pigment activator actually worked with these, but like I said, it's too oily. It really just dulls them down. I just think that the pigment activator really doesn't bring out their full potential. And for $14, it's just too much of a gamble. The other shade that I did like is Interstellar. I think this one is nice, has potential. Again, on top of something like the Fair Pixie epoxy. And then the shade Infinity, super, super dull. Like in the swatches, barely could see a duochrome effect on that. And then the shade I'm wearing on my eyes is Mars Attack. Again, you could see the difference. So all in all, I do have to say that any brands just do multi-chromes better. And yes, they're expensive, but they're expensive for a reason. But there are brands like JD Glow that do offer really, really great quality for just a little bit lesser price compared to like Clionadh, for example. I believe Terra Moons also, I think their multi-chromes are $17, but you can use coupon codes on their multi-chromes, while Devinah doesn't allow that. So I think even just like if you wanted to go with Terra Moons versus JD Glow, whatever your heart desires, but I do not think that these are worth the money. But I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. If you tried these out, did you pick them up? What is your experience like with them? And that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, I would love it if you subscribe. There's so much indie makeup content up already on my channel and much more to come. You don't want to miss out. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.